Okay, so we factored out the greatest common factor, and we now are going to unfoil. So the reason why when we were foiling and multiplying, I was going over the signs and the results, because being familiar with that helps us understand how to do this a little bit better. Okay, so remember, when you foil, you're going to have something, usually something simple like that, right? Or hopefully something simple. So when you multiply, again, factoring is undoing multiplication. All right, so when you multiply, you have, usually in something like this, you end up with 4 terms, and then you simplify, right? So your result looks like this, okay? Now, the process for here is that we want to start here and get back to this. So we see that, yeah, we have 3 terms, but we did that because we have a group of 2 things times another group of 2 things, right? And how did that happen? So the way to set it up, or the way I go about doing this, is we take this example here. In order to get x squared, I know I need to do x times x. Okay? And then back here, I know I had to multiply this term times this term in order to get here. So at this point, I asked myself, okay, self, what multiplies to get this number but adds or subtracts to get 4? Now 3 is nice because there's only one way to multiply to get 3, right? So 1 and 3. If I add 1 and 3 together, do I get 4? Yep. So that tells me that those will be my 2 numbers that go here and here. Okay. Then I look at my signs. I multiplied this times this and got a positive. Okay. So this being a positive means that I either had plus, plus, or minus times minus, right? So how do I know which one? I look at this sign right here. So since this is a plus, that means I had a positive 3 times a positive 1. Plus plus gets me that positive 3 here, and when I add it, I get a positive 4 right there. Okay. Let's do another one. Okay, a little bit different. So here, the first thing you always kind of want to do is ask yourself, is there anything in common with all 3 terms? The greatest common factor I can take out first? Nope. Because x squared, x, no x. 12, 8, no big number in front. So no, I can't take anything out. So here, that's when I set up my 2 groups. And I know I had to multiply this number here times this number here to get x squared. That means I had to do x times x to get x squared. And I had to do this number times this number to get a 12. Okay? This is where you want to go through your terms of how, your factors of how you can get 12. So we have 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. So out of that set of factors, is there a pair that combine in a way to get 8? So if I added 12 and 1, I get 13. If I do 12 minus 1, I get 11, right? So that won't work. If I add 2 and 6 together, do I get 8? Heck yeah. And I know I might not want to subtract because I have to have the same sign here, right, in order to get a positive 12. So if I add 2 and 6 together, I get 8. If I multiply 2 and 6 together, I get 12. So if I put those down, now I'm going to check my signs. Since this is positive, just like I said up here, I have to have either a plus times a plus or a minus times a minus. How do I know which one to use? This sign. So they have to be the same in order to get a positive. And what sign that is comes from here. And what can you do to check yourself? Right, when in doubt, FOIL it out. So we can always multiply this together and see if we come up with this. All right, so -6, lose 2 more, you're down to -8. And there you go. Okay, so that's what we had. So your final answer will look like this. You're breaking that back up into these two groups. Okay. And the homework gets a little carried away sometimes with terms. Let's just do one more and then we'll kind of do some ones that the homework throws at you. So let's see. If we have x squared, if we had something like that. So can we factor something out of all three things from the get-go? No, we can't. So that means that we're going to do this. Okay. So here we have x times x to get x squared. And we need something times something that multiplies to get 27, or adds or combines in a way, adds or subtracts to get 6. So we want to think of our factors of 27. If I take 27 minus 1, do I get 6? Nope. All right, can I divide 27 by 2? Nope. Can I divide 27 by 3? Yep. So I can do 3 times 9. If I take 3 times 9, I get 27. And if I take the difference, if I do 9 minus 3, I end up with 6, right? So how do we know we can, rather than adding them like we did up here, how do we know we can subtract them, these two numbers? Because this sign right here. So if this sign is negative, that means you have a positive times a negative. Okay? Determining what is, which one is the determining which number, which factor is positive and which one's negative, again, goes back to this sign. So I'm going to have a 9 and a 3 in here, because 9 times 3 gets me 27. Since it's negative, I know it has to have different signs. One's a plus, one's a minus. Which one's going to be the plus? The bigger number always takes the sign of the middle term. Positive 9 minus 3 leaves us with a positive 6. So let's say we had this, x squared minus 24x minus 25. Okay. Nothing in common with all three terms. I'm going to set up in parentheses x times x to get x squared. Now here I have something times something to get 25, but when I combine it, I get 24. So a lot of times we like to jump to 5 times 5, which is always good. But in this case, if I do 5 minus 5, I don't get 24, right? So the only other factor of 25, or way to multiply, is to get 25 times 1. Sometimes we forget about those, but there's still a set of factors. So 25 times 1 gets us 25, right? It has to be a negative, so that means we have a plus and a minus. Now determining which number gets what depends on this. So again, 25 is bigger than 1. The bigger number takes this sign. Okay? And if you're not sure, this is where you're going to multiply it out and double check. So x times x gets x squared. That'll be a plus 1x minus 25x minus 25. So you have positive 1 minus 25. Okay? So you have different signs. Take the difference. Higher, bigger number keeps that sign. So it's like you had $1 and you spent 25. Your bank is not going to tell you you all of a sudden magically have $24. They're going to tell you that you're below zero, right? Okay. So the homework likes to throw some extra letters in there, okay? But it again doesn't change really what we do. Let's do this. Okay. So when they start getting kind of bigger, you always want to check, saying, hey, is there anything we can take out first? Make this a little bit easier. This is x squared, this has an x, this doesn't have any x's, so nope. Y squared, y, no y's, nope. And number y's, nope. So we can just go and do this. Okay. Here, I'm always multiplying this times this to get this first term. So again, I'm still going to have x times x to get x squared. Now over here, I have a y squared, but I have a 50 in front. Okay. So whatever number I have, I know the only way to get a y squared is if I have y times y. Okay. And so now I think about factors of 50. So what can I do to multiply to get 50 that will add or subtract, combine to get 27? I know I have 1 and 50. If I added that, that does not give me 27. 2 and 25. Oh, well, if I add those two together, I get 27, right? Okay. And now we go check our signs. So this is positive. So that means the only way we can get a positive is if we do plus times plus or minus times minus. Which one is it going to be? Plus. So process-wise, it doesn't change. Now we just slap an extra letter on it. So rather than having x plus some number, we have x plus a number, and whatever letter that is, take one of them, y times y. Okay. And if we talk about difference of two squares, all right, again, this means we're going to have in our results, same things, but different signs. Okay, so if I had, if I had an x squared minus 16. Okay. Well, it doesn't look like a whole lot, right? There's only two things. They don't have anything in common, but I still did x times x to get x squared, right? So what times what gets us 16 and leaves us with no middle term, meaning it canceled out. So 16 factor-wise, yeah, I could do 2 times 8, right? But if I did 8 minus 2, I get 6. 8 plus 2, I get 10, right? There's no middle term here with an x. So that means I have to use same number, different signs, because I have to get a negative back here. So the only way to do that, if one's a plus, one's a minus. And the only way to get something left over with 2 terms is same stuff, different signs. Okay? If there happens to be a number in front, doesn't really change it. Something like that. Here, same situation. We check, can we divide anything out? Oh, but here, I know I did x times x to get x squared. And what times what gets me 9? Yeah, 3. Okay. Something times something gets me 25. Y times y gets me y squared. Again, in order for this to have only 2 terms, it needs to be the same thing. One's a plus, one's a minus. So the back term will have y, and 5 times 5 will get us 25. Okay. All right. Hopefully that's good enough. I don't want to kill you with every possible example because that'll be way too much. All right, good luck.